USC Viterbi live chat. So first off, I want to say congratulations on being admitted into the USC Viterbi School of Engineering. The live chat is basically where a panel of current engineering students answer questions submitted to us by you on our website at viterbivoices.usc.edu. The live chat is specifically geared towards admitted students into the Viterbi School of Engineering, so we'll be answering questions about anything and everything related to student life. Believe it or not, just a few years ago, we were in your guys' exact shoes. We had just gotten into all of the schools, and we were trying to decide on where we would go for the next 4 years. So that's why we're here to answer your guys' questions, anything from study abroad to internships to social life, or whatever else you guys want to know. We've already received a lot of questions, so if you're just tuning in, you can definitely still please keep filling out the form and asking your questions, and we'll try to get to all of them as well as possible. A lot of you guys probably know that we have a lot of admitted student events coming up in April. So if you guys want to come to campus, please look at those admitted student events. I know I went to them and they were really helpful in making my college decision. So before we jump into the panel, I'll have everyone introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about themselves. So we can start off with Nash.
Yeah, sure. Hi, guys. Like Priya just said, my name is Nash Galbitz. Just a quick note before I do introduce myself. I'll be doing some of the tech for today's live chat. So what that means is you might see me looking off to the side, checking things out, and that's totally normal. I'm just making sure that all of the video quality and the sound quality is up to par today so we can get all of your guys' questions answered as well as possible, like Priya mentioned. A little bit more about me. I'm a junior studying aerospace engineering from Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I'm involved in a few different things on campus. Namely, I'm president of SCAIAA, which is the American Institute of Aeronautics and Astronautics. We're a professional aerospace engineering organization that helps connect people who are interested in mechanical engineering, aerospace engineering, or astronautical engineering with research opportunities, internships, entry-level positions, and we also go on tours of really cool aerospace-related things. I'm in a social fraternity, and I'm involved in an investment group within that fraternity where we donate our capital gains through investing to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. I'm a licensed seaplane and private pilot, and 2 summers ago, I interned with the Boeing company in Seattle, Washington, doing fuel mileage on the Boeing Dreamliner. Last summer, I was part of the Viterbi Summer Overseas program in Madrid, Spain, with a few others on this panel tonight. And this summer, I'll be returning to Boeing to do flight test engineering on the new 787-10 Dreamliner.
Cool. So hi, everyone. I'm Savina. I am a second-year student studying computer engineering and computer science with a minor in entrepreneurship on a pre-law track. I'm also in the thematic options general ed alternative program. And I'm also a member of Spark SC, which is an organization on campus that focuses around innovation and entrepreneurship. So right now I'm working on putting together a fair that combines art, music, and food initiatives by students on campus. And I also do research with socially assistive robots. So I'm studying how humans and robots essentially interact with each other. Yeah, and last summer I studied abroad in Madrid, Spain. Again, like Nash mentioned, with a bunch of other people on this panel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shayna. I'm a junior studying electrical engineering, and I'm from Cambridge, Massachusetts. At USC, I have joined a social sorority. I served on the executive board of a female mentorship program working with local middle school-aged girls, and I also worked in that research lab working with socially assistive robotics that Sabina mentioned. And last summer, and then I'll be returning this summer, I've interned at the Aerospace Corporation working on the Air Force's weather satellite program. But currently for this semester, I'm studying abroad in Hong Kong at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. So actually, good morning. It's Tuesday morning here for me. It's Monday night for everyone back in LA. So hello from Hong Kong.
Awesome. Hi, my name's Jose Hernandez. I'm a sophomore from Porterville, California. I'm currently studying industrial and systems engineering with a minor in social entrepreneurship. So on campus, I'm involved with 3D printing for everyone. It's a design team and a design club. It's a project-based 3D printing club with a focus on product development. I'm also on the USC Boxing Club, where I box about 2 to 3 times a week at a gym off campus. And I'm also the programming director for a professional organization called the Institute of Industrial and Systems Engineers. And this summer, I'll be studying abroad at Viterbi Overseas in Rome, Italy.
Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Shayna, the other Shayna. I'm a junior studying mechanical engineering. On campus, I'm the vice president for the National Society of Black Engineers. It's a professional organization, but we put on resume workshops, we go to career fairs, we bring in companies, and we do social events. It's really fun. I'm also a freshman academy coach, and that's a course that you'd be taking if you attend here fall semester, where we just give you some resources about Viterbi and help you get acclimated to life at USC. After freshman year, I interned at Visa, where I worked in the data facilities, working with their chillers and HVAC systems. And then last year, I interned for Microsoft and their manufacturing supply chain facility. And I'll be going back to Redmond, Washington / China and their factories to work as well.
Hey guys, my name is Bethany Jarvis. I'm currently a junior studying biomedical engineering from Fresno, California. On campus, I am the vice president of a design team within Viterbi called Corpus Callosum, where we make these really cool art projects that integrate engineering. This semester, I'm making a giant mechanical crane out of a couple thousand paper cranes. I'm also involved in research, where I work under Dr. Shen in the Laboratory for Integrated Biosystems Engineering, where I study tumor microenvironments. Last semester, I actually worked full-time as a manufacturing engineering co-op for St. Jude Medical in their cardiac rhythm management division, working on leads and pacemakers. And this upcoming summer, I'm going to be working for Abbott Laboratories in their diagnostics division up in Santa Clara.
Hi everyone, my name is Frankie Johnson. I am a senior studying chemical engineering. I'm originally from Pikesville, Maryland, actually. So a couple things I do on campus. I volunteer about twice a week with an organization called Troy Camp. We really focus on kind of helping the kids in the surrounding community around USC, and really trying to ingrain the importance of education to every one of them. I'm also part of the National Society of Black Engineers, like Shayna said earlier. I'm actually the program chair, so what that means is basically I plan a lot of events inside and outside the classroom, so the fun stuff and also the stuff in class, like resume workshops along those lines. Also, I'm also part of the ski and snowboard team. I actually snowboard, but we go up to Mammoth, which is about 5 hours away, and go skiing and snowboard for the weekend. Last summer, I interned at PepsiCo, where I was a manufacturing intern. And then next summer, after I graduate, I will be joining Procter & Gamble, where I'll be working as a process engineer.
Awesome, thanks guys. So like I said, my name's Bria. I am a junior studying environmental engineering from Bakersfield, California. I can tell you guys some of the things I'm involved in on campus. I'm in the Society of Women Engineers. This year I was on the Officer Council, and then next year I'm going to be serving on the Executive Board. I'm also in a social sorority on campus, and last year I was on the Executive Board. I'm actually in my sorority right now, so sorry if it gets a little bit loud. But I also have a work study job at the USC Law Library. I've had 2 internships, one with LA County Sanitation District, which I did part-time during my sophomore year, and one with Matt Construction, which I did full-time the summer after my freshman year. Last summer, I studied abroad with the Viterbi Overseas program in Madrid, Spain with Nash and Savina. And this summer, I will be working at Ramble Environ as an environmental engineering consultant associate. Some of the things I like to do for fun are I really like to go hiking and camping, go to amusement parks, and go to music festivals and concerts. So obviously, Southern California is the perfect place for me to be able to do all that stuff. We can jump right in with our first question. Like I said, we've been taking questions, for the past week, but if you guys, while you're watching, come up with a question, please feel free to keep submitting them. So our first question is about how flexible is the engineering program? So can you change your minor? Can you change your major? Can you add a minor? What has your guys' experience been with the flexibility? So Jose, we can start off with you.
Yeah, sure. So I actually didn't start out as industrial engineering. I started out as mechanical engineering. When I first started in, I didn't even know what industrial engineering was when I first came in, which is a lot like I think most people. Industrial engineering really grows a lot throughout the years. But what got me interested in industrial engineering and kind of learning about it was that my freshman academy professor, which is a class that everyone will take their first semester here, was a professor of industrial engineering, and he kind of made me fall in love with that field of engineering, which is more of like a sort of a mix of business and engineering, and it's sort of big systems and improving efficiency of things, and using math and all the things that you learn in your math classes and in your calculus classes, and applying it to anything from like corporations to entrepreneurship. And it ties a lot into my major, which is my minor, which is social entrepreneurship, which I recently declared like this past semester. So it was really cool to be able to switch your major, and it's as easy as signing a piece of paper and talking to your advisor and being, hey, I want to switch my major. So it's definitely very, very easy.
Anybody else?
All right. I can comment a little bit on the flexibility. Yeah, so I actually started in aerospace engineering. I'm still an aerospace engineer, but I can comment on some of the flexibility as far as taking classes that might be outside of your major, taking technical electives, which you're allowed to do, and also just exploring cool things that USC has to offer. So the first one of those, technical electives. So almost every major, or at least aerospace mechanical majors, have what's called technical electives, which are classes that you get to choose, usually your junior or senior year of school, and there are a wide range of topics. One of the cool things about engineering curriculum is it's somewhat set up for you when you start to get some of the baseline requirements out of the way. But once you get those out of the way, you get a lot of choice, and it's almost kind of difficult for me to register for classes this semester because I have so many choices. But some of those include for me like flight mechanics or advanced fluid dynamics. But there's also other ones like technical entrepreneurship that I'm taking next semester, and it's a class offered through the business school for technical, entrepreneurs or people who are looking into getting into startups and things like that. Furthermore, there's flexibility, especially when you're an upperclassman, to take some other classes that might just interest you, and maybe they're not a formal minor, but you could take an accounting class like I've had friends taking a sailing class, there's sports classes, and also, you can take really almost anything that USC has to offer. I'm considering taking a small business management class next semester as well. So really the course curriculum is your oyster, or for what have you, for choosing the classes you like to choose. It's really great because you have some flexibility in pursuing those outside interests, not just in engineering, but other areas as you progress through your coursework here. And that's really rewarding because you get the opportunity to, complete who you are as a person through your studies.
And personally, like, I won't make it to the gym unless I take a class that is like athletic. So I take, like, right now I'm taking swimming. I love it. I feel so fit. I took Afro-Cuban dance before. I plan on taking beach volleyball next semester, which is on a Saturday. So you can be strategic and have fun with your course level, your course schedule.
Yeah, and I can make a comment on that too. I changed my major when I came into USC. I actually applied under industrial and systems engineering, but after spending my senior year in my AP environmental science class, I realized that I was more interested in environmental engineering, and so I went to the orientation programs that you go to in the summer. And when I went to go register for classes, I met with my advisor before registering. And I just told him, like, hey, I'm kind of thinking environmental instead of industrial. Like, how do I do that? Do I have to start off in industrial? How does it work like that? And he was like, no, like, kind of like Jose said, just sign here. And it was just like that, super easy. Then I signed up for environmental classes for my first semester, and I got to stay. And then another note on that is I did decide I wanted to add a minor in nonprofits, philanthropy, and volunteerism through a different school, not Viterbi, but the Price School of Public Policy. And so I decided to add that minor, and I took a class in it, and I actually really liked it, but I decided that I didn't want to pursue an entire minor in it, and then I wanted to take classes in other more fun stuff, kind of like Shanna said, like soccer and beach volleyball and stuff like that. I wanted to sort of diversify those, extra elective units that I had. So I ended up dropping the minor. It was super easy to add it, super easy to drop it. And yeah, my courses, it didn't really affect graduation or anything like that. So definitely the flexibility here. It's really, really nice, and it was really convenient for me. So yeah, we can move on to our next question. Our next question is about the atmosphere in Viterbi specifically. So do you guys feel it's competitive? Do you feel like it's collaborative? What is it like in your classes? How are, your peers acting around you? How is it like?
So I came from pretty.
No, go ahead, Frankie. Go ahead.
All right. So I came from a pretty small school, so I think that the atmosphere is really important to when I came to school. So my graduating class was 75 kids, and I went to that school from since I was in second grade until I graduated. So I knew kind of the same 75 kids my whole experience through high school, middle school, and elementary school. So coming to USC, I was really expecting a different kind of atmosphere, but it really fit exactly what I wanted. So people were very collaborative. People worked really well together. And not only are you encouraged to work together, there's a lot of projects you kind of have to work together. And I learned early on that it's definitely better to work with people. So you might end up running into problems that you either can't figure them out, or that you kind of need other people to work with them and kind of think outside the box. Like you might think one way and someone else might think another way. And the atmosphere at USC is really kind of pushes you guys together to work, smarter, not harder, is like the way I always say it, work smarter, not harder. And I've always really enjoyed kind of the experiences of working with other people, because, you might think of one problem one way and you'll meet someone else that thinks of another way, and you'll figure out that maybe that way is better. And so definitely a really great environment to be in that really helps you grow as a student, helps you grow as a thinker, helps you grow as an engineer. I think that I can imagine being somewhere else where it could be such a collaborative environment that really kind of forces you guys to work together in a way. So yeah.
Yeah, I can go off of that. I really think that USC is unique in that USC is a pretty large school, like undergrad-wise, or I think so, based off of my high school, which, like Frankie, was really small. But within Viterbi, it's so collaborative, and it has the feel of a really small school. I know almost every single person in my major and the major and the year above me. So I know the seniors, I know the juniors, I know a lot of sophomores in BME, and I have the same study group I've had since freshman year. We do all our homework together. We study for tests together, and I've never felt threatened, or I've never felt like it was too competitive. But it's a really cool atmosphere to be in, that you have the small school feel, but you also have, the big football team, and you have a lot of clubs on campus. So yeah, I definitely would say collaborative is the right word for Viterbi.
But you have to engage, right? Like, piece of advice, I know my first semester, I was going into classes just feeling isolated because engineering originally was not something I really wanted to do. And so I disconnected, and it wasn't until I made that effort and really got to know people and branched out that I felt all of those things. So a little bit is on you. USC fosters that relationship by the projects they give and everything. But, when you come here, you got to kind of put yourself out there just a little bit. And I tell you, it will pay dividends. It is so nice to have people to be able to work and study with and prepare, because, engineering is not easy, and you need people to help you get through it.
Yeah, so, kind of a note on that, you guys all talked about how collaborative Viterbi is. Does anyone feel like, it's competitive? I personally, like Bethany said, I'm always working with people on projects and stuff like that. But I know that people are worried that, are you competing for, are you competing for a curve? Are you competing for a grade? Do you guys feel like that? I'm Nash.
Yeah, sure. So I would definitely say that the coursework is challenging, but I think it's important to distinguish challenging and competitive from each other when you're talking about any engineering program. So again, admittedly, the coursework is challenging. You will be challenged, but the competition really is self-driven most of the time. I'd say most of the people who say, oh, I feel like I'm competing right now, is because they're competing with themselves on how well they want to do. But you're not trying to beat out your classmates for a better grade. It's not a pre-med feel, if you guys are aware of that stereotype of you have to get a 4.0 GPA. You're just trying to, do your best and not help anyone else out so you can do better than others. Professors at USC and most of the students kind of have that idea and that mantra of learning the material for the sake of, learning to the best of your abilities. And, if, a lot of professors will say, hey, I would love to give everyone in this class an A if they demonstrate that they understand the material to the, to the level of an A. And that's really encouraged, because we're not trying to separate people out, but rather the classes feel like it's an effort to teach people as much knowledge, or teach students as much knowledge as possible, and have them really get comfortable and excel at understanding and learning the material. So in my experience here, again, that competition or that competitive atmosphere has really been way more self-driven. Those people who are competitive are really driving themselves to try to perform to a certain level, but it's not an external motivation by any means, as far as others trying to, best each other out. I haven't experienced that whatsoever in my about 3 years here at USC now.
Yeah, so it's about 7:20 LA time right now. So if you guys are just tuning in, welcome to the USC Viterbi live chat for spring 2017. Congrats again on getting invited to USC Viterbi. It's really awesome. We've been getting a lot of questions related to admissions, stuff that would be better for admission staff to answer. So if you're wondering about what AP or IB credits transfer over, or, you know, statistics of the engineering school or anything like that, you know, I would definitely recommend going to the viterbiadmission.usc.edu website. We're just here to answer student life questions. So, you know, we don't have the answers on stats or credits or anything like that. Or if you have a super specific question, you can email them at viterbi.admission@usc.edu. But yeah, so keep putting your questions in the form on our website, and we were gonna, you know, keep trying to answer all of them. So I can move on to our next question. James from Connecticut wants to know about the admitted student programs. So what are the admitted student programs like? I can tell you guys a little bit about my experience with an admitted student program. I went to Preview USC, which is about a half-day long program, and you get a walking tour. There's a financial aid presentation, and then you also get a presentation by a staff member in the Viterbi Admission and Student Affairs office. So definitely I recommend going to one of these programs. At Preview USC, when I came, I got to see an environmental engineering lab. They answered all my questions about AP credits because I was really curious about the ones that I was taking right then. So they answered all my questions there, and it was really cool just, you know, to talk to a current environmental engineering student about the program. And it wasn't a huge commitment. It was only a half day, and that worked in my schedule. So if, you know, if you guys are thinking about coming, definitely I would recommend it. I don't know if anyone went to, you know, Explore USC or another program.
So
Sure.
I went to Explore US. Oh, my B.
Go for
You want to
it.
go, Savina? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I went to Explore USC. It was 4 years ago now. So I went to Explore USC, which is one of the scholarship programs. And, you know, I kind of already was kind of sold onto the school, but I think that that extra step to come to the Explore program and really see the school and have a hands-on experience. And, you know, I think the best part about going to going to one of the admitted students programs is not only do you get to see the school and kind of get to see in a more detailed view, but also you get to see the people that are also admitted around you. And I think that kind of shows the kind of people that you will be surrounded by when you come here. So I think that's really important, that not only do you like what the school looks like, how it feels, the classes, but also do you enjoy the people that are also coming here with you. So I think that the thing that really separates USC from a lot of other schools is how great the people are on, you know, the people that come here are very diverse. They come from all walks of life. And I think that that kind of really separates our school from a lot of the other schools. And I think that when you come to admitted students programs, you get to really experience that. You get to see people actually going to class. You get to see people actually walking around campus and really get that full experience. I know I have friends that, you know, that didn't come to visit, but I think that they kind of missed out on that. And I see a lot of friends that did come to visit, and I think that really separated them from the other schools they visited. I know that's what kind of experience I had when I went to other schools. I got to compare them based on my actual first-person perspective as being there as a student. So I think that's what really separated USC from all the other schools. I really enjoyed being here on campus.
Yeah, and for me, I also went to Explore USC like Frankie did. And before that, I was actually not that interested in USC because I have two older siblings who'd both graduated from USC. And I always thought, I don't want to just follow them. I have to do something different. Like USC is their school. I'm going to do my own thing. And then I'm so glad I went to Explore because being on campus without them and actually getting to kind of walk around alone and, like Frankie said, meet the other kids who'd been admitted my year and all the other people who were on campus is when I finally got to start seeing USC as my school and what kind of experience I could have and how that would be totally different from what my siblings had done. So I really am grateful that I came to an admitted student program because I don't think I would have ever looked at USC in the same light as I had now that I'd gone to it and actually got to feel what a student, you know, living on campus and having my life here. So yeah, I really encourage if you can make it out to an admitted program, they can really change your opinion of a school. And, you know, that goes for any school, not just USC. So they're definitely very beneficial.
Yeah, definitely. Because I went to admitted student day, and I think the main thing for me was the nervousness and the feeling of like, yeah, I'm really excited that I got into this school, that I got into like this really awesome school, and but I'm also like not sure if I'm going to fit in or if it's going to be the right fit for me. And I think that if you go and you experience like what it's like to be a student, then you'll really see that it was for you, because that's what it was for me. And I think in order to see that, you'll really have to come and just see it for yourself.
Yeah, awesome. So we have a question from Jillian from Washington, D.C. So they want to know, so what did you guys do after your freshman year? Is it possible to study abroad that summer? Is it possible to have an internship? So I can start off by saying what I did after my freshman year. I worked an internship full-time, like I said. I worked for Matt Construction. So the way I got that internship was just at the spring career fair. It was like in March, I think. I met, a bunch of companies and I networked, and I wasn't really planning on getting an internship. I was planning on doing summer school. I didn't think I had time. But then, I went, I got an interview, and then I got the job. And then all of a sudden, like 2 months later, they had put me up in an apartment and I was working full time for this really awesome company. So, it's definitely possible to intern the summer after your freshman year. I did it. But I can turn it over to Savina. What did you do this summer after your freshman year?
So the summer after my freshman year, so that was last summer for me, I studied abroad in Madrid, Spain, which was just, I don't know, the best experience ever. So I was one of the few freshmen in the group that I was in. And so I got to meet a bunch of different people that I think, they were all different majors. They were all different kinds of engineers and involved in a lot of different things. So I was able to meet a lot of people I think I wouldn't have been able to meet otherwise. And turns out that they are in my classes now. So it's a really nice way to get, connections with everyone else. But the actual program was about 2 months long, and it was essentially like transporting USC classrooms into Spain. And yeah, it was a great way to see a different culture and still get engineering credits in.
So I actually didn't do anything that summer. I had got shoulder surgery that summer, and I kind of so I couldn't really do anything. I couldn't intern. I didn't get an internship anyway. I really didn't apply. And so I definitely would say that depending on kind of what you want out of college and what if you want to get a head start on internships, I definitely suggest you can do that. But I know the way my parents explained it to me was, this is the last summer before I kind of have to like either get an internship or I'll be working that summer. So it was a great experience to kind of go back home, back to Baltimore, and really enjoy kind of last summer with all my high school friends and see how their freshman year went and kind of hang out with them. And kind of, so depending on kind of what you went on to college or what you out of one of that summer, I definitely suggest to certain people, if you want to get internships, I say go for it. But also if you kind of want to go back home and see your family and see your friends and kind of hang out with your friends for the last summer, I definitely suggest that also. I think that, I have a job and I had an internship last summer, and I think it's definitely a great path to go, is kind of just enjoy your summer before you kind of get working and chugging along to your professional path.
Awesome. So on that note, let's talk about study abroad opportunities. So Caitlin from El Paso wants to know, are there study abroad, opportunities as an engineering student? So for that one, I think it's probably appropriate to start off with you, Shayna. So what do you think? Do you think that there are study abroad opportunities here?
Yeah, I would say there are some study abroad opportunities. Otherwise, I would not be where I am right now. If you're just tuning in, I'm in Hong Kong for the semester studying at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, which is actually an exchange program USC has. So they send some of us here and some students from here go to USC. And it honestly couldn't have been easier to get to study abroad for the full semester, which was something I always knew I wanted to do going into college. Before I even knew I wanted to be an engineer, I knew I wanted to study abroad. And, I came in freshman year thinking I had to plan my schedule, knowing I wanted to fit this in. I went into the study abroad office and they were like, what are you doing here as a freshman? You don't want to go till you're a junior, leave, come back when you're a junior. And so that was a bit of a shock, but it really was, all it took was a few meetings with my advisor to make sure, okay, the credits I'm getting here are going to transfer back to USC. Had to get just some classes approved by my electrical engineering department head that they were equivalent classes. But, that was just a couple emails back and forth. So studying abroad is here. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. I know some people on this panel went for the summer, but if you're interested in a semester-long program, it's not just Hong Kong. There's programs all over the world in English-speaking countries, so you don't have to know another language. I don't speak any Cantonese. And yeah, if you want to do it, you definitely 500% should and can, and I'm loving it. So there are, yes, Bria, there are opportunities to study abroad.
Yeah, so a little bit on that note, as you know, we all already said, we went, me, Nash, and Savina all did the Viterbi Overseas program over the summer, and it was really awesome. They, you know, Viterbi sponsored a lot of weekend trips, so we have been, you know, in every major city in Spain, you know, traveled all throughout it, and definitely that program worked for me and it worked for them, but it's, you know, like Shayna did a whole semester, another Viterbi student ambassador, Ali, did a semester in Australia last fall, so it's definitely possible to, you know, go abroad. Shayna or Jose or Frankie, have you guys had any experience with going abroad, with internships or studying?
So actually, one of my biggest regrets is not doing Viterbi study abroad. And so after I did my first year at Microsoft, my first summer, the GM called me into his office and was like, what does it take to get you back? And I was like, you know what I want to do? I want to go abroad. So that's how I'm baking in that experience. This summer, I'll be going to China, Suzhou, specifically to our facilities out there where we create the hardware. So there are many opportunities to get that experience in if that's what you want.
Awesome. And then on the same note of, you know, what you did after freshman year, we just talked about study abroad opportunities after your freshman year and other times. And another thing everyone wants to know about is job opportunities, internships, co-ops, full-time jobs after you graduate. Dale, Will, and a lot more people, everyone wants to know, you know, how do you do career things in college, and especially as a Viterbi student. So I'll open it up to anyone who wants to talk about that.
I can start with that one. So this last semester, I actually took a semester off and I worked full-time, like I said in my intro, as a manufacturing engineering co-op for St. Jude Medical, which is a medical device company, and I worked in their cardiac rhythm management division. So we made devices related to the heart and rhythms, obviously, so pacemakers. I worked a lot on leads, which is the thing that plugs into the pacemaker, goes into your heart. But I got that opportunity because my counselor actually emailed out to all the people in BME, and he said, if you want to work for this company, email your resume to this man. And that man ended up actually being one of my really good friends at St. Jude Medical, and he gave my resume to my boss, who then asked me for an interview, and then the rest is history. And from that, I actually ended up getting an interview with Abbott Laboratories, who acquired St. Jude Medical this year, and I'm going to be working for them. So it's really up to you, honestly, to take the initiative to go out and get those internships. But in Viterbi, we have career fairs in the fall and in the spring, and they're really large. I think some of the other people on the panel actually got jobs through that. But I know that a lot of companies come and recruit at the career fairs, and then specifically within BME, we have something called the ASBME Networking Night, which is through the Associated Students of Biomedical Engineering, and a lot of companies come to that as well. It's a very intimate setting where you have dinner with recruiters. So yeah, that's basically my experience.
So there's definitely a lot of opportunities on campus along the lines of, you know, like Bethany said, there are the career fairs, but there's also a lot of professional organizations on campus. Sorry about that. There's also a lot of professional organizations on campus. So I would say there's probably a professional organization for each major. So there's AICE for stands for American Institute of Chemical Engineers. I know they have a big national career fair, national convention every year. Also since I'm a part of National Society of Black Engineers, we actually just had our big national convention, which is basically flew out to Kansas City. Shane and I flew out to Kansas City, and pretty much every major company is there just recruiting students from NESB. And so there's a lot of professional organizations on campus that can provide that outlet for other job opportunities. I know that my internship that I got with Pepsi, I actually got through one of the career fairs on campus. And then so for my job that I'm going to be working next year at Procter & Gamble, I actually got a NESB convention. So there's a lot of opportunities on campus. Like Bethany said, you just kind of have to put yourself out there, you know, print out a resume, get your resume ready, put on a suit, and kind of go out there and kind of just kind of talk to a lot of different companies.
Awesome. So yeah, like I said, I got the internship that I worked with Matt Construction, which was the summer after my freshman year. I got that through the spring career fair when I was a freshman. And then I also got an internship, the one that I worked part-time during my sophomore year. I also got that through that same career fair. And then I got my internship with Ramble and Viron also through the fall career fair this time. So I'm definitely a huge proponent of career fairs. I really like them just because, you know, everyone is there networking. The Viterbi career fair is huge. It's not even, it doesn't even fit in like the engineering quad area anymore. We had to move it to the center of campus because it's so big. So, you know, there's so many opportunities to talk to recruiters and get interviews and really make those connections as long as you know, put in the effort to do it. So yeah, it's about,
Yeah. We have one of the resources. So when you get to USC, you'll get this in Viterbi, you'll get an email sent out called Viterbi Connect. And a lot of events that are up there are like kind of hospitality suites or info sessions where a company will just come for a specific night for a specific reason. So that's how I got my Microsoft. My first internship with Visa was at an SB convention. And those conventions are like none else when it comes to career fairs. Just swag being thrown around and opportunity. They want students. But for Viterbi Connect, I saw that there was a manufacturing supply chain event by Microsoft, and Microsoft doesn't really have hardware internship. So I was like, this is the place to be. And I went there, and I will tell you, like, networking is such a big part of getting internships and jobs. So that means, you know, putting yourself out there. And I just went up and talked to one of the full-timers, not even a recruiter, and she really liked me and she pushed me through. And I'll say network with students too, because now two of my friends, one who's also a Viterbi student ambassador, she's going to be working with me in my department. So they asked me, they said, Shayna, who do you suggest, you know, would be a good fit? Like, we'd like to know. And so two of my friends, they're both chemical engineers. I floated them their names, and now we're all in the same department, going to be living together. So don't sleep on, you know, the students that you can network and potentially get a job from.
Definitely. I definitely agree with the student connections. So it's about 7:37 here in LA. So if you guys are just tuning in, welcome to the live chat. We're still accepting questions, so please keep submitting them. We're going to try to get to all of them as best we can. Our next question is about housing. So, you know, not only as a freshman, you know, how did you guys do housing? Did you live in dorms? Did you live in a suite style housing? But also, you know, as sophomores and juniors and seniors, you know, what have you guys done for housing?
Yeah, so I can kind of take the reins and start off on that one. As a freshman, I did live in a dorm on USC's campus. I lived in New North, and it was a really great time. Wherever you end up living freshman year, I really encourage living in a dorm, just kind of the classic, you know, 2 people in a room, and there's just a bunch of rooms in the hallway. I'm fairly partial to it, but I had a really good time there. I have a lot of friends that I still talk to this day that I catch up with, who I met through living at New North freshman year. And there's different reputations for every dorm across campus and different kind of climates and that sort of thing. And the biggest thing that helped me choose what kind of dorm I wanted to be part of is what people thought about the place. Because as much as you can, you know, say one place is either a little bit more social or maybe more community oriented or service project oriented or honors program oriented, the facilities themselves, you know, the dorms themselves don't really make that happen. It's the people who live there who really create the vibe or the, you know, that communal feel to being in a dormitory. So for me, I was really excited to live in New North because I thought a lot of the people there would be energetic. They would definitely, you know, be passionate about their work. They'd also be interested in doing things, you know, besides just engineering or their classwork, you know, getting involved in clubs, organizations, being social and that sort of thing, and had a great time there. I met a lot of people, and I also had a lot of friends who lived in Burncrest next door. That was the other dorm I was choosing between as a freshman. And looking back, I would have had a great time at either one. They probably both would have been good fits. And so I didn't really have, you know, like a win-lose situation as a win-win situation there. And for those of you who are curious about McCarthy, and if you might be in honors housing next year, we can't really help you out with that because those dorms are still being constructed. They're almost done, but they're not finished yet. So you can try to Google, do Google search and go to the USC Village updates to check out that. But since none of us have been there, we couldn't help you out too much on that. Other thoughts from some other panelists here?
Sure. So I lived in Burncamp my freshman year, and that's the dorm that I checked out when I came on campus for Explore. And what I really liked about it was that every floor was super, super tight with, I guess, all their other floor mates. And so I really, really liked that community. It's kind of like instant friends once you get to school. And that worked out really well for me. I really enjoyed it. There was always someone up, at, 3 a.m. when I had decided to procrastinate on my programming assignments. And so I'd always have company to work on things with. And if I wanted to go and do something on the weekends, I always had friends who would come out with me and kind of explore the city. But from then, or from that dorm, I met a bunch of different people, 3 of whom I live with now, and 2 of whom I'm going to be living with again next year. So right now, I live in an off-campus apartment that is super, super close to campus. It's just like right across the street. But I really like it. I like having a kitchen, especially, because then I can just cook and don't have to, go to dining halls. Kind of far from me now.
Yeah, I can give also a different perspective. I actually lived in Parkside, which is more of a suite style living. It's about 4 rooms with 2 people in each room, and then you share a bathroom between just the 8 of you guys, which is kind of cool because as opposed to like community style bathrooms. And the cool thing about that was it is the people that make it, is that I got really lucky that I got along with like everyone in my suite, and we kind of immediately bonded, and we always kept our door open. And so that's something that I will definitely always give advice to freshmen when they come in, is like always keep your door open, always like be open to anyone like passing by, because like what our dorm became, what our suite became, is like people would stop by and just say hi and kind of just hang out. And the cool thing about that is I lived in Parkside Arts and Humanities residential college, so while it was open to everyone, it tended to have like the musical majors, and there was always like a ton of events geared towards music and like theater and cinema and things like that. So like my suite mates were like, he was a classical guitar and neuroscience major, and I still live with him today. So, and then I also had like a CS guy, my roommate's in architecture. So it was just a bunch of different variety that you get from living in a suite. So I definitely recommend that as well if that's something you're looking for.
Yeah, I also lived in a suite style dorm, and I definitely enjoyed it. It just really depends on what you guys are looking for in a dorm, whether you want it to be quieter or whether you want it to be, like more social. But like Jose said, at the end of the day, you kind of make it, how you want it to be. So definitely, like you said, leave your door open. So another question that we have been getting a lot from literally so many people, everyone wants to know, as an engineering major, can you have a social life? Do you have any free time? Justin wants to know, do you guys have time to be lazy? So does anyone have any thoughts on that?
I have too much time to be lazy. I swear, like, that's probably one of my worst. This is why I got so involved, honestly, with things. After freshman year, I was lazy all the time. Because if you're like me in high school, you did everything. You did sports. I went to performing arts high school, so I was in theater all the time. And when I got my freshman year, I was like, I'm not doing anything. Like, nap times, all the times. And I had to cut that out. Like, honestly, it just made me, like, unproductive in normal life when I did need to get things done, right? So now that I'm involved in things, I just feel like I can better manage my time. And when I'm on top of it, I still have time. We have music festivals right across the street in Expo Park. I'm always at those. I go to concerts all around the city, sometimes by myself, because that's just me. You have so much time. I'm not going to lie. Like, you have a lot of time. It's different being in college. So yes, you can have a social life. I swear, I promise.
Yeah, I mean, you're also in Los Angeles, so it's kind of a shame if you don't go out and use all of the cool things around LA. This Saturday, Shane and I are actually going to Yuri's Night, which is really cool. It's like a space party at the shuttle across the street. So it's kind of nerdy, but, it's going to be a good time. And then, like this Friday, I'm going to Joshua Tree, which is like a couple hours out of LA. But I mean, we are an engineering school. School's difficult, but you have enough time to go out and do other things. And I think you do really need that, honestly, to kind of diversify your life. And you're in LA, like you're not going to just sit in your dorm all day. Everyone's going to be out doing everything and you're going to go with them. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So you could also get involved in the Greeks if you want. There's a lot of opportunities there for social events, and there'll be more social events than you could ever want. It's a great way, to be involved socially, also to relax. My roommate and I, watched TV series a pretty good bit. He watched a lot of Friends. He actually finished all 10 episodes of Friends. So he had time to do that, and he's a successful engineering student.
10 seasons?
Yeah, 10 seasons. 10 seasons.
Episodes.
Not 10 episodes. Sorry, 10 seasons. That's 236 episodes. So a little bit much. We did the math. But yeah, it's pretty impressive. But there's a ton of ways to get socially involved on campus. Engineering is not a relegation to staying inside a room and studying all the time and doing that sort of thing. It's totally doable. It's very common. Like almost everyone I know in engineering school has a great social life. They have a bunch of different social circles with people they can hang out with. This past weekend I was in Mammoth, and I rigged this light up so it's hard to see, but I still have kind of like a goggle tan / sunburn from going there with my friends. So I had a great time doing that. There are a ton of opportunities in the LA area and in California, to get out and have fun with friends and take advantage of your surrounding area and the people who are there, because they make it what it is and they make it a great time.
Yeah, so on that note, we also have been getting a lot of questions about extracurriculars. So everyone, when you introduced yourselves, you all talked about all the things you're involved in on campus and all the things you guys like to do for fun. So, what are some of your guys' favorite extracurriculars? A lot of people have been asking, are there certain clubs that engineers are more likely to get into, more popular? So, Jose, we can start with you. What is some of the stuff that you really enjoy doing on campus outside of your classes?
Yeah, for sure. So in high school, I was always in athletics, like I was in track, and I also played football. And so I needed something to replace that, because as soon as I got to college, I started eating at the dining hall, and I was like, dang, I'm gaining weight. So I needed something to replace that and to kind of keep me busy. So I kind of looked around, and I looked around at like the rowing club that they have club rowing, and that was really cool. But it was like at 5 a.m. so I wasn't really down for that. And so I found the boxing club, and me and my best friend have always wanted to open up a boxing gym when we're older. So it was really cool to have that. And so that's one of my favorite organizations. I box about 2 to 3 times a week at a gym on campus. And so what I do is it's like a great way to stay in shape, and it's a lot of fun, and you make a lot of friends within and outside of engineering. You have everywhere from graduate students to freshmen in college. So that's one of my organizations that I really love, and especially if you're into athletics. There's at the beginning, there's definitely involvement fairs that you can go to, and that's where I found the rowing club, and that's where I also found the boxing club. And there's all kinds of different intramural sports. I also played intramural flag football for a little bit, which was really, really fun. So yeah, I don't know if anyone else has any.
I can take something. So my favorite involvement is doing research. I'm actually in the building right now that I do research in. I don't know if you can see these fancy scholarly posters behind me, but basically, I started my freshman year in this lab, and I've met some of my best friends in lab. You spend a lot of time doing research if you're involved in it. So I would definitely recommend checking that out if you're interested in that at USC. We are a research university. We have a lot of labs on campus. I have a couple of friends who work at the health science campus, actually, in the medical school. But that's definitely one of my favorite involvements. You not only get to meet a lot of cool people, but you also get exposed to some really cool skills that you can use eventually, for a job.
Yeah, so in the past, I'm not currently involved in these teams, but I was earlier on in my career, and they were a great, a ton of fun. One of them was the aero design team, and that's an aerospace mechanical oriented group, but they also have computer science and a bunch of other disciplines represented. But it's basically a a competition that goes on every year between hundreds of universities. I think last year's competition had more than 350 universities from around the world come and compete. And it's basically a design team within the engineering school that fabricates and flies a remote control airplane. And that airplane changes every year, so there's a set of design requirements that are set forth that that aircraft has to, or constraints rather, that aircraft has to follow. And the goal of that whole challenge is to optimize an aircraft for the geometry, the speed, weight, range, all that good stuff that gets flown to the competition. So this year, the airplane has to fold the wings in and then fit in a small tube and be able to be hand launched and fly a couple different racetrack courses. So that's a really cool one. And then to kind of dovetail into that is the Rocket Propulsion Laboratory. A quick plug, we'll be going live and showing you guys a tour of that on April 7th, so this Friday. In the early afternoon. It'll be really cool, but they are a student group. I have a couple of friends in that is trying to reach space with a rocket that they are designing and building on their own. Their last rocket launch got to about 140,000 feet, Mach 4, so 4 times the speed of sound, and it's now the altitude record for a student-led and run design course or a rocketry club in a college. So that's really cool too. That's going on campus every day. They're working on new rockets.
Yeah, and I can talk about how I'm part of a professional engineering fraternity on campus. And so essentially, we've kind of got like 3 different parts of it. So you obviously have the social kind of aspect of you get to meet a bunch of engineers who are not necessarily of your major, who have different minors, who are involved in a bunch of different things and a bunch of different teams, which is really, really cool because you get to obviously expand your circle in that sense. But there's also an aspect of professionalism that comes with it. So we put on tech talks and just networking events with different companies that essentially turns into internship opportunities. And then there's also a bunch of opportunities for service events. So we organize things like egg drops for middle schoolers and kind of introduce kids to STEM fields and engineering specifically. So I really enjoy that.
Awesome. So I think we have time for about 2 more questions. If you guys are just tuning in, awesome, hello. But if you have missed the first, part of this live chat, that's totally okay. At the end, we're going to upload it on our YouTube page, and we're also going to upload it on our website at viterbivoices.usc.edu/live. That will not only have this live chat, but a lot of our other live events. Like Nash mentioned, there's going to be Facebook Live tours happening too. So on to our next question. Colin wants to know, what would you guys say is the mix of hands-on and theory in Viterbi? Do you guys think we're more of a school that focuses on labs and hands-on work, or do you think we focus more on theory? Frankie?
So I would say it's about like 50-50, honestly. So I think it started off. So when I'm a chemical engineer, if you guys just tuned in. So I took intro chemistry, like chemistry A and B, my first 2 semesters, and so that is attached with like a 3-hour lab. So basically, the first couple labs you start off, they're really simple. You're like mixing hot and cold water and like seeing how the temperature changes. But then you gotta get some more advanced stuff where you're playing with acids, fire, stuff like that. Can kind of be a little dangerous. Like, well, I don't know. I'm like sometimes not the safest. I'm kind of clumsy, so it was like kind of not safe. But so that's definitely just, you have the hands-on part. You have lab, and you kind of take labs throughout your whole career. So I still take. I'm not taking any classes that actively have a weekly lab like chemistry does, but I'm still taking a class where I did 1 lab last week, and then I think I have 1 more the rest of the semester. So you're always kind of doing hands-on stuff and really seeing like the actual like physical aspects of what you're learning about, not just the theory behind it. And then I would say the other 50%, the classes are mostly just they're lectures. Sometimes they'll show off demos. Like I remember physics my sophomore year, they showed off demos in class. But for the most part, most classes are just made just for lectures. And I think that USC really does it well with being able to not only learning something and seeing it on a chalkboard or a whiteboard, and really learning about it in your textbooks, and then being able to actually apply those ideas in the labs and really getting a more advanced look on the theory behind it. So I'd say it's like about a 50-50 split.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I think what's really cool is like my very first semester at USC, very first semester in engineering, I took EE 109, like Introduction to Electrical Engineering. And right off the bat, we were doing little projects. We were working with breadboards, building circuits, sometimes simple ones, sometimes not so simple ones. And I think that was really important for me to realize, yes, like engineering is what I want to do because of that immediate, like practical application. Like this is something that electrical engineers do. This is how you get to, you know, problem solve and actually real time build a project and see, look, it works. And I think that is really cool that pretty much in every semester since that first semester, all of my classes have some sort of hands-on aspect, which is my favorite part of engineering. So it's really important to me that I get to actually like play with stuff.
Yeah, just kind of.
Sorry, Sabina.
Oh, no,
More point.
sorry.
Has really made me appreciate how cool those little projects we get to do at USC are, because I still have labs here, but they're not nearly as fun.
Yeah. Okay. So, I was just gonna say, I took that same class that you were talking about earlier, and this is like a picture of freshman me with a robot that I made. I made its head turn.
Oh,
Woohoo! Yeah,
look cute.
Yeah. I don't know.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. So we have time for one more question. I would say this has definitely been the most consistent question that we've been getting from almost everyone. A lot of people have been asking why we chose USC. So I'm going to have all the panelists answer this one before we wrap up. So Nash, we'll start with you. Why did you choose USC?
Sure. It's a great question. Time and time again, students want to know, why did you choose USC, and, how are you doing now, and how did that decision pan out? So for me, it really stemmed from interest and mutual interest. So I almost looked at like going to a college or choosing what school I went to as a relationship, as like, are both parties like excited about it? Like, am I excited about the school, and is the school excited about me? It's not just, oh, I got into this school, it's really good, this is where I should go, I'm going to do this. And the school is kind of like, oh, whatever, you're just another admission statistic or something we can put on our website. Like, that's not the feel. If you compared the mail stacks I got from USC and all the other schools, all the other schools maybe here, and then USC was like way above. There's way more mail that I got. And it wasn't just, hey, student, it was like, hi, Nash. And if you didn't see my name has an I in it, it was spelled right. That was a big up for me. I was really excited about it. So you could tell that USC was really excited for me, Nash, to come and study engineering here. They weren't just saying, oh, here's, this person, he'd probably do great, and, that'd be fine. It's, we know who you are. We want you to come here. We want to retain you. And that was great, because that really sealed the deal for me. Studying aerospace engineering, Los Angeles and Southern California is a great place for that. We have JPL, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, SpaceX, Boeing, all these huge players, AeroVironment, all within, a couple, maybe an hour radius of where I am. So you combine that with, looking for a bigger school feel with the big sports, because I'm into that, but also smaller classes in the engineering school. The weather's fantastic. You can go and ski still. You can go to the beach and surf. Combine all those things, and it was really a no-brainer for me. And 3 years later, I would, say I have no regrets at all for choosing to go to USC, and that logic I used to make that decision. I'm really happy that, high school senior Nash had the foresight to make this decision, because it was one of the best decisions I made in my life.
Yeah, and so I guess why I chose USC, it has, there's a lot of aspects to it. So I was absolutely one of those people that like wrote up decision matrices and like tried to figure out like this very calculated way of figuring out what was the best school for me. And in the end, like all of that was honestly not super worth it, because the minute I stepped on campus, I had this feeling of just like, this is totally somewhere that I feel like I could excel, not just academically, but, as a person and as an engineer. And I think being able to get that sense, as cheesy as it sounds, was really important for me. And I guess in addition to that, it was just the number of opportunities that I would have here and that I have received here. One of my favorite classes in high school was AP English or AP Literature. And we have a program on campus that I mentioned earlier, which is called Thematic Option. If you check out our Viterbi Voices blog, I've written some posts on it. But essentially, you get to have this liberal arts education as an engineer. and you don't sacrifice any of your, your units. It's still totally manageable, but you get to be taught by these amazing like humanities and English and all these really, really cool professors at the same time. And so that was something I really wanted to do. I also obviously really wanted to study abroad in Europe. And I was able to do that, my first summer coming in as a freshman. And I mean, those are just a few things, but as a whole, I really like the opportunity that I was able to get, in research, in being able to do computer engineering and computer science at once. So I get kind of a mix of hardware and software, and I can kind of transition that into law as I please.
I'll go next. I think why I chose USC was because everyone is doing a million different things, and there's no this is the typical USC student, and there's no, even within the many different schools at USC, there's no this is the typical Viterbi student. And I know we talk a lot about engineering plus, where you get to do, you're an engineer at USC, but you're so much more than that. And I think that has been a really important part of why I love USC, is that yes, I'm an engineer, but I get to take classes in the film school. I've taken a Russian art class. I get to, like we were all saying, I have a great social life. I'm studying abroad, so it's not like I'm just in this bubble of engineering. I get to experience all of it. And I think that expands to every student at USC, regardless of their major. They're all, dipping their toe in all different, whether that's different disciplines and different extracurricular activities, where they're working. Everyone is just so diverse and interesting and has a lot to offer you. And I think that's been the biggest part of why I love USC, is that you're going to meet the most interesting and amazing people at USC, and they're going to introduce you to your new favorite activities and places to go in LA. And it's just a really special place to be at.
Yeah, and for me, USC first came on my radar when I was probably 10 or 11, but not because of the academics. It became on my radar because of the football, right? So I was a big football fan, and my mom and my brothers would raise money for me to come to the USC Notre Dame game once a year, and so I would get to go, and we'd have super nosebleed seats, and we'd eat sandwiches in the parking lot. But it was super awesome, and I loved it, and it was still today one of my favorite memories to have. And later on, I started to realize it was a good school. And my mom never got to go to college, and she moved here from Nicaragua, but she always stressed education as being the way to move up in the world and to not have to work as hard as she did. And so that's the main reason why I worked so hard in high school, and why that's my motivation for working in college. And USC is the place where I have all of the opportunities to succeed, and there's no limits on what I can do based on my background, as long as I'm willing to put in the work. And you have all these resources, and you have all these people around you that want to hear your story, and that are different from you, and that are incredibly smart, and will challenge you to do better, and will also help you and give you the confidence to do well. And so that's the main thing for me. And it was always my dream school, and I maybe am a little biased, but also now that I'm here, it's not biases anymore. I'm truly experiencing it. And I think that anyone here on this panel can tell you the same thing, is that it's a place where you can become the best version of yourself, and you can grow academically, career-wise, but also you're going to make the best friends of your life here. And so that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, so for me, when I was applying to schools, I never had a top school. I applied to maybe 10 across the country, and just wanted to see what would happen. I'm not very serious when it came to that. But I remember after I got in, Viterbi specifically sent me this Goldie Blocks. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's the little engineering board game for the girls. And they sent it to me a letter, we want you to give it to a little girl to inspire her to go into STEM. And I was like, oh my God, this is the sweetest thing. Who does that? What school does that? So that was one of those, as Oprah says, an aha moment. But once I got on campus, I knew I wanted to go to a school that was well-rounded. That's who I am as a person. And so I wanted the big sports. I wanted the concerts. I wanted the good food. I wanted the good academics. And not that I've gone study abroad, not that I do research, I wanted all the opportunities to be easily accessible, and they all were. And so for me, it truly was the perfect school. I'm convinced I go to the best school, truly, like, ever. And I tell people this, just at the NSBE conference, I was going around I would just say USC. We were singing the fight song. So when we won our trophy, we were singing the fight song down the hallway. And like 6 people stopped and were like, oh my God, you went to USC. And we were in Kansas City, Missouri. And just that love, that Trojan family is so real and tangible. I don't know where else you would get that, but yeah.
Okay, so I'll take the next one. For me, you know, when I came here freshman year, the why USC role for me was, you know, the beautiful campus. I really love LA. I liked the flexibility within engineering. I wanted to do research, so we had really good research opportunities. And then after being here for 3 years, I think that my answer is more, you know, geared towards the people. Like Shayna said, the people here are just amazing. Everyone here is so well-rounded. Everyone's involved in everything. And not only is everyone trying to succeed academically and professionally, but everyone wants to have a good time. Everyone wants to get out there and experience life. And, you know, I've met some of the best people in Viterbi and at USC. I was in choir a couple years, and even those people, you know, in Thornton School of Music, they're just so cool and they're so involved. And, you know, everyone just is happy. You know, there's no reason to not be happy at this school. It's always sunny. And it's a really good time. Being surrounded by all these cool people is just a really, really good environment to be in. And then when you get out in the world, whenever you see someone with a USC shirt on or something, it's just an instant, it's a weird bond that you have. It's a Trojan family bond. I worked at Cold Stone for a little bit after freshman year in the winter break, and people would come in with USC hats on, and I would have a USC sweatshirt on, and it would just be an instant, like, fight on. And I mean, it sounds cheesy, but it carries, I mean, the Trojan family carries you with, I don't know, it's just a confidence that you go out in the real world and you go out in the workplace and you meet people who went to USC, and it's just an instant bond. So the people are really the main reason why I love USC so much, and I'll continue to love it, you know, for the rest of my life.
So for me, I had a couple different experiences. So when I stepped on campus, you know, first thing I understood when I was looking at college is that, you know, once you reach those top tier engineering schools, like, they're not really going to teach you anything different. You know, 2 + 2 = 4, no matter where you go, and no matter what campus you go into. And I understood that pretty early on. And so when I went to the campus, I was really looking for something where people I could fit in, somewhere I could see myself going, and around people that I wanted to see. And so when I walked around campus, you know, when I first stepped on campus, I noticed that, you know, USC is one of the most diverse places you can ever be. You know, people from all walks of life, from all different types of places from the world. And I think that diversity kind of really stood out for me. Coming from Baltimore, I went to a private school, and it was mostly just, you know, mostly Caucasian, Black, and then that was it. And I kind of wanted to go somewhere completely different where I could, you know, experience, you know, first thing that came to my mind is all the colors of the rainbow. But I wanted to see, like, you know, every kind of person that I could possibly see, and I meet as many people as possible, because, you know, each person that you meet from, you know, different walk of life, you know, has a different experience, and that can really affect your experience at USC. And I think that it really has changed my experience at USC. And I would say after 4 years of going here that I could never imagine going somewhere anywhere else in the, you know, the world, you know, in the United States. I really like the fact that, you know, people are from all around the world and have so many different experiences. And I also really like the fact that people are so smart here. You know, that's some of the smartest people I think I will ever meet in my life. And some of these people, you know, like to have more fun than I would ever expect them to. You know, I have a roommate that got, you know, perfect SAT, perfect ACT scores, but, you know, he's a business student, but he's also a manager of a rapper. So, you know, you just meet people from all different walks of life, and I think that's really, really what kind of drew me to the school, and, you know, what really made the school stand apart from anywhere else.
Yeah, so I could tell you guys why I chose USC. I was really looking for, you know, an engineering program that was flexible. So like I said, I came in as industrial and systems engineering and ended up switching to environmental engineering. And so for me, you know, being able to do, you know, any major I wanted. And when, you know, they told us that, you know, once you're accepted to one engineering major at USC, you're accepted to them all, like, that, you know, that was really important to me, was being able to, you know, switch majors and, you know, still be on track to graduate, having a program that worked with me. And then, like I said, I switched my major before I even started coming here, and it definitely ended up being true. I also really, I wasn't sure if I wanted to study engineering, and I was like, I want to be able to study other things. I want to be able to be involved in things outside of engineering. And so, the whole idea of like engineering plus, that was really important to me too. I liked that Viterbi was so unique about it, and they encourage you to be involved in other stuff, and they encouraged me to pursue a minor and to take classes and other stuff. So for me, just the engineering school specifically, and the engineering school, emphasizing non-engineering specifically also, that was really important to me. So that was our last question. I hope you guys enjoyed the live chat tonight. We definitely enjoyed doing this panel for you guys. Please make sure you go to the Viterbi admission website at viterbivoices.usc.edu for all of your admission-related questions. As far as off-campus events go, we have an alumni live chat. We sent out this mailer, or the admission office sent out this mailer that has all of our events. So we have an alumni live chat this Wednesday, lots of Facebook live tours that, like Nash mentioned, and we also have, there's going to be Viterbi admission staff traveling, all outside of the LA area, just in case you can't make it to campus. But like we all said earlier, definitely recommend coming to campus, whether it's Explore USC, Preview USC, or the admitted student reception. But before you come, if you want to learn more about what life is like as an engineering student at USC, make sure you go to viterbivoices.usc.edu. We have lots of blogs and content on there that we make for you guys, because like I said, we were all in your position trying to figure out where to go to college, and definitely that information will really help and answer your guys' questions, especially if there are questions that we didn't have time to get to tonight. You'll probably find a lot of your answers on there. So with that said, congratulations again on getting into the Viterbi School of Engineering at USC, and fight on!
Fight on, everyone.
Fight on.
Fight on.